Well, welcome to deep stretch. Let's go ahead and lay it on down, nice and easy, all the way down. Now you can use those yoga pillows, bolsters, or any kind of pillows you have if you would like to. You can place it underneath those legs. Get a little comfortable here for a moment and just settle in. You can have that extra blankie or pillow underneath the neck and head too if you need to. Arms down at your sides. And just settle in. If you can, hopefully you have a nice little space set aside. Hopefully you can get a little bit quiet. But I know we have families at home, it might be a little difficult. But hopefully you can take some time for yourself tonight to just settle in. So nice and gently relaxing those eyes, closing the eyelids, relaxing the eyes behind the eyelids, and releasing that tongue from the roof of the mouth. Good, just settling in, starting to notice your breath. Inhaling and exhaling out the nose, if you can, of course. If it's uncomfortable for any reason, or you might be a little stuffy or whatnot, you can always breathe with the mouth if you have to. And take a few moments here just to check in with the body. So starting at the feet, noticing those toes. And you're not in perfect stillness here. We can kind of move around a little bit, wiggle the toes, move the feet around a little bit, rotate those ankles, maybe a couple of point and flexes. Good. And just check in, take a mental note. How do those feet feel today? You guys have been working hard all week. Good. Noticing the shins and the calves, noticing the knees. The front of the knees and the back of the knees. Noticing the thighs, top and bottom. Noticing the inner thighs, the outer thighs, all the way up those outer thighs into the glutes. And noticing those hips. Maybe you kind of shimmy those hips a little bit, side to side. Just settling into that mat, making sure you're comfortable. And remember, with the legs out long, if you don't have a pillow under the knees and you have some lower back issues, you can always bring the feet to the mat and bend the knees here if needed. I want you to feel comfortable here. All right, taking that mind's eye into that lower back, noticing how it feels today. Noticing the spine all the way up into those shoulders, letting go of those shoulders, allowing them to relax down and back. The arms are down at your sides, wherever they feel most comfortable. Still breathing in and out the nose, sinking into that mat a little bit more each breath. Just settling the body, settling the mind, noticing those arms, elbows, wrists, all the way down to those fingertips. Bringing that mind back up those arms to the shoulders again, noticing the chest. Good, noticing the neck, the front of the neck, near the throat and the back of the neck. And noticing that little crevice in the base of the skull. So maybe you kind of adjust the head a little bit, lengthen that neck, and find that crevice in the base of the skull. Maybe you rock it side to side just a little bit. So the chin should be slightly tucked, a little bit of space between the chin and the chest. Noticing the jaw. Maybe you open the mouth here for a moment. Shimmy that jaw side to side, forward and back. Maybe you stick out the tongue. Maybe you scrunch up the face and release. Scrunch up the face and release. Just releasing any facial tension here. And come back to that breath. Inhaling and exhaling out the nose if you can. And starting to allow that exhale to match your inhale. So if you notice you're inhaling for maybe 4 counts, let's start to exhale for 4 counts. practice yoga and you like to set an intention for your class, you can set an intention for your class today if you'd like. Basically, it's just maybe a short little prayer, or maybe one word of something that you're working on. It could be something physical, something spiritual, something emotional that you're working through. Whatever that is to you, just something personal to you that you can focus on throughout your deep stretch practice tonight. So a couple more breaths here, and then we'll start to move the body nice and gently. All right, when you have that intention set and you're ready, let's inhale, take those arms up overhead for a nice big, good evening stretch. You can point those toes, reach those arms, lengthen, and then exhale, bring those arms down to your sides, and then bring those feet to the mat. Of course, you can remove any pillows that you're using if you were using any pillows. So feet to the mat, knees are bent, and you have a little bit of space between those feet and knees. And we're just gonna do a nice little hammock sway side to side. A couple of times here, and then notice maybe it feels better to take those feet as wide as the mat. Take them out a little bit wider and see how that changes up those hips. Good. Nice and gentle, side to side, noticing how that feels. And then gently bringing those knees into the chest. So you can hold onto the thighs right behind the knees creases, or you can hold onto the shins and give yourself a nice little hug. You can even rock side to side here if that feels good. Just giving that sacrum a nice little massage. Nice deep breath still. All right, coming back to center, settle the rock, and then we're just gonna gently create some circles on the ceiling with those knees. About 3 or 4 times one direction and then the other direction. Just massaging that sacrum for a moment, starting to warm up that lower back a little bit. Good, make sure you go both directions and then give yourself that nice big hug one more time. Option to bring that forehead towards the knees, completing your ball if you will. Noticing how close you are to the knees. And then gently laying that head back down nice and long in that spine. Give yourself that nice big hug. And then we're going to take the grip to behind those knees creases and create some circles with the knees again. But this time we're going to open up the knees out, around, and in. Out, around, and in. Again, about 3 or 4 times. And then you'll switch directions. Nice and easy. Good. All right, and then give yourself one more nice big hug. Beautiful job. And we are going to come up into a seated position. So you have the option to rock forward and back on that spine if that feels good to you. But if that's not for you, that's okay. From here, you can gently just roll to one side and gently press yourself up and come into a simple seated position. So take your time. If it feels good on the spine to roll back and forth, you can do that 3 or 4 times, okay? Until you're ready, you can kind of come up into simple seated as crisscross applesauce. But if this is uncomfortable for those hips, you can always take the legs out long if you need to, okay? All right, so crisscross applesauce. I'm gonna give you some options for blocks. Remember, blocks, you can use pillows as well. If your hips are really tight today, we can actually place those blocks for some support underneath those thighs if needed. Anything can work, any kind of rolled up towel, blocks, or pillows, okay? So play around with, I love using yoga props because you never know when it comes in handy or can help your practice and be a little bit more comfortable. You can also roll up that towel and place it underneath those hips if you need some extra cushion, okay? All right, so now that you're comfortable in a seated position, let's release those arms down to the sides, reaching towards the mat. They're not just hanging out by the sides. I want you to reach for that mat out and down, and we're gonna release one ear to one side. We're gonna work on the neck and shoulders here for a moment. Inhale, and then exhale that chin across the chest to the other side. So nice and easy here, half neck circles to start, still reaching those arms down and out. You may or may not touch the floor, that's okay. Connecting your breath to your movement. Inhale, exhale that chin across the chest. Good. Now you can go at your own pace here, okay? So take your time, exhaling that chin across. But if you notice a really tight spot along the way, maybe you hold in that that space. Allow it to stretch out. Allow your breath to relax into that stretch. Use that breath to relax any unnecessary tension. So it may take a breath or two. So take your time here, finding those tense spots, allowing the release to happen, and then continue on with those half circles. Now, if you don't really have any really tense spots, hallelujah, that's awesome. You also have the option to go into full neck circles here. If that's for you, you can go into full neck circles, but make sure you go in both directions. And again, listen to your neck. For some, that just doesn't feel good. So again, listen to your body and what feels good with that neck today, okay? All right. When you're done, make sure you're nice and even. Let's bring that chin to the chest, and then we're gonna add both hands behind the head for a gentle press forward. Now, of course, this is only if you want more here. Thinking about that chin going towards the chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Good. One more deep breath. Now you're gonna keep the hands where they are. Let's lift the head and lift the chest. So you're gonna start to press the head into the hands and the hands into the head. So you're gonna start to feel the muscles in between the shoulder blades start to activate. That's what we want here. Take the heart up, eye gaze up. So you might be going into a little bit of a back bend here. Breathe. Again, you only go as far as you feel comfortable. One more deep breath, and then gently come on forward into that tall seat. Release those arms down and give me some shoulder rolls. And remember too, if seated on the floor is uncomfortable at any time, you can always come to a chair here as well, okay? Go ahead and give me some shoulder rolls forward. Really shrug those shoulders up, exhale, let it go. Shrug those shoulders up, exhale, let it go. Good, whew, all right. Nice and easy, maybe shake it out a little bit. All right, we're gonna go into what I call the chicken wing, okay? All right, so we're gonna take one arm out, whichever arm you're gonna start with is fine. You're gonna face the palm towards the back wall, right, away from you. And you're gonna take that hand to the lower back, okay? All right, and pay attention to your shoulders here, take your time. Now that opposite hand is gonna grab that wrist and bring that arm across that lower back so you have a little chicken wing on one side, yes? All right, so from here, pay attention to this space in between the ear and the shoulder, and let's release that opposite ear to the chicken wing side, okay? So you're bending that ear towards the chicken wing. So it's a little bit of a deeper stretch for that neck area, the neck and shoulders, getting into the traps here. Nice deep breaths, and remember, if those legs are more comfortable out, or maybe butterfly, whatever's most comfortable for you, or maybe a seated chair if you need to. All right, so from here, you're actively pulling that arm across that lower body. Good. Now a little adjustment here. Let's gently, so the ear stays towards the chicken wing side, and you're gently gonna make a little 1 to 2 inch adjustment and point that chin towards the ceiling. Good, so now that stretch kind of moves to the front of the ear a little bit, right in front of the neck, to the inside portion of that shoulder, towards that inside shoulder a little bit. Now point that chin down towards the floor, just a couple of inches. So now the stretch should move just behind the ear and down out towards a little bit towards the outer edge of that shoulder. Breathe. One more deep breath. To release, let's take that chin towards the chest, lift the head, release those arms. Give yourself some shoulder rolls. Whew. Good. All right, let's get into that other arm. So opposite arm out, flip the palm away from you, towards the wall behind you, and take that hand to the lower back. Opposite arm will grab that wrist and bring it across. So now you have a chicken wing on the other side, yes? Seated nice and tall, and release that ear to the chicken wing side. Good, breathe. Notice the stretch, notice the feeling, notice the sensation that's going on. And then make that minor adjustment. Take that chin and point it towards the ceiling, just a little adjustment. Noticing how the stretch changes. And then take that chin and point it down towards the floor, just a little bit. The ear is still towards the chicken wing side. Good, one more deep breath. And then gently you'll take that chin towards the chest, lift the head, release those arms, give me some shoulder rolls. Maybe it feels good to shake it out, or shoulder rolls forward. Just kind of release. Good. If you need to kind of do a little self-massage on those shoulders, if that feels good, you can absolutely do that. All right, shake it out a little bit. We're going to come into a tabletop position next. So if you want to add some cushion, you can. Roll it forward nice and easy onto those knees. And we want to make sure that there's a little bit of space between the knees, so about 2 fist distance or so between the knees and the feet. And you're going to have those hands underneath the shoulders, maybe a little bit wider than the shoulders to keep that heart space open. Belly button tucked in and up, nice and strong spine here, reaching the crown of the head forward. Coming into some cat-cows. So we're going to inhale, reach the head up, crown of the head, lifts, tailbone lifts, belly button falls. And then exhale, tuck the tailbone under, tuck the chin under, and reach that belly button towards the ceiling. Good, 2 more times. Inhale, scoop it up. And again, you can go at your own pace here. Take your time. Exhale, cat back. Good, at least 1 more time. Inhaling up, just moving the vertebrae, creating space in between them. Exhale, cat back. Beautiful job. All right, toes together, knees wide here. Let's come into a wide-legged child's pose. Sending those hips back towards, the hips back towards the heels. Fingertips spread nice and wide. And we want to rest the head on the mat here. Now, if you can't reach the mat comfortably with that forehead, maybe you add a block or a pillow underneath the forehead for some elevation if needed. So do what feels good here. You can also add a pillow or a blanket underneath the booty to add some extra support in your child's pose. That's also an option. Or maybe a blanket in between those calves and thighs. Move around a little bit. Just kind of shimmy those hips left and right. We're going to start to get into that lower half here. All right. 1 more deep breath. And then gently come on up into your tabletop position, adjusting those legs. There we go. All right, coming into our hip circles here. We're going to send those hips back to one heel, over to the other, up and around. We're just going to start to warm up those hips a little bit before we get into some deeper stretches in that lower half, especially since we had leg day on Monday. You guys should be really good to stretch it out today. Whew. And then switch directions. Again, 3 or 4 times. You can count to yourself. And then gently switch sides. And pay attention to your body here. Notice the knees, make sure they're comfortable. All right, when you're done, you'll come back into that tabletop. Go ahead and give me 1 cow-cat. Inhale, scoop it up. Exhale, cat back. Beautiful. Back to neutral. Coming into our hip sways. So we're going to work on the outer edges of those hips here. So the hips are going to sway over to one side. And then you're going to take the eye gaze to the opposite ankle. Good, allowing the outer side of that hip to start to open. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, allow those hips to sway over to one side, and then take the eye gaze to the opposite ankle. Good, inhale, center. Exhale, other side. So about 2 or 3 times each side. Make sure you're nice and even. Nice and easy. Make sure you're connecting your breath to your movement. Let's go at least 1 more time each side. If it feels good to kind of hold for a breath or 2, that's fine. Inhale, exhale. As long as you're breathing, right? Breathing is very important. We don't want to hold our breath. Good. Gently come back to center. Toes together, knees apart, wide-legged child's pose. Send those hips back. Fingertips spread nice and wide, and rest the head. Nice deep breaths. In the nose, out the nose. Come back to that breath. Come back to that intention. On your next exhale, let's walk those hands over to the right side of the mat. The hands will either touch or stack, and you're active here. So you're actively pressing into those hands, pressing that opposite hip back. So if the hands are to the right, you're gently pressing that left hip slightly back. Nice deep breaths. Make sure you're resting the head on the floor comfortably. Opening up that side body. 1 more deep breath. Nice and gently come back to center. Inhale at the center, and then exhale over to the left. Gently pressing into those hands, pressing that right hip back this time, and make sure we're resting that head here. Remember, we can use those pillows or blocks or towels for a little elevation if needed, just depending on how tight we are today and how everything's feeling. 1 more deep breath, and then nice and gently come back to center. Beautiful job. One deep breath here, and then nice and gently come on up into a kneeling position. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and walk those hands up, kneeling completely on the knees here. Again, have that extra cushion under those knees if you need it, okay? Coming into a deep runner's lunge and a hamstring stretch. So we're gonna take one foot forward, either side is fine. We're gonna do both sides. But we're gonna come into a modified lunge here, okay? So we want that ankle underneath the knee approximately. We are gonna push into this stretch by the thigh. So we'll have the hands on the thigh. You'll inhale, and then exhale, you're gonna hinge forward. Yep, you're gonna lean into it. Now don't be afraid of the knee going past the ankle here, because we're not necessarily using it to, like in our lunges where we lift ourselves up and down here and don't wanna put strain on it. But in this case, we're getting a nice little ankle flexion going on, so it's a good stretch for that ankle too. So don't be afraid to go past the ankle, past the toes here for the stretch. Make sure that that opposite hip is facing forward, getting that hip to open up in the front of that leg that's back behind you. One more deep breath, and then nice and gently start to send those hips back. You're gonna lift the toes towards you, coming into a hamstring stretch here. Now, with hands can go to your sides. If you're really tight in those hamstrings, some pillows or blocks can come in handy here at your sides to help elevate and kind of hold onto here. So again, toes are towards you, leg is nice and straight and strong, hips are back. Now, if you're able to go all the way back and sit it down, that's fine, but don't lose the integrity of that stretch, okay? So for me, I feel it more when I'm up here, thinking about that heart going towards the toes here, okay? Spine nice and long, breathe. One more deep breath. Good, nice and gently, you're gonna lay those toes down. We're gonna do that one more time. So bring those hands to the thigh and then gently press forward. Nice and easy, breathe. Good, hips are both facing forward, nice and parallel. Good, one more deep breath. And then nice and gently send it back, toes up, hips back, using those blocks or pillows for some stability. And remember, blocks have, you can even use, do you remember those old Webster's dictionaries, those really thick ones? Those work great too, books or whatnot. Whatever you can use for some elevation, it helps. Good, nice deep breath. Think about that heart towards the toes. One more deep breath. And then nice and gently come into that kneeling position. Bring that leg back to meet the other. Beautiful job, and switch sides. Take your time here. If it's too much to be on the knee, you can come to the chair here and come into a modified lunge if needed, okay? All right, my friends, hands to the thigh, hips forward, inhale, exhale, hinge forward, nice and easy, breathe. Good. Remember not to force the stretch, take your time. Gently send those hips back, toes up. Use those pillows or blocks for some elevation here. And don't be surprised if one side might be a little bit tighter than the other. Sometimes that happens, it's totally natural, totally normal. Sorry to break it to you, you're normal. Heart towards those toes, one more deep breath. And then gently come forward, come into that modified lunge. Deep runner's lunge, hands to the thighs and gently press forward. Breathe. One more deep breath. And then gently send those hips back, toes up, hamstring stretch one more time. And we're gonna get into those hamstrings a little bit more here in a little bit. Breathe. One more deep breath here. And then nice and gently sit it tall, kneel it tall, and then bring that other leg back to meet the other. Coming back into your tabletop position. And give me one cow cat. Inhale, scoop it up. Exhale, cat back. Beautiful job. All right, my friends. Nice and easy. We're gonna come down to the floor here onto our bellies. So nice and gently, we just kind of lower it down nice and easy. Let's take that right cheek to the mat to start. And we're gonna take those arms out into a T position. So palms face down. Legs are somewhat close together. All right, so from here, so again, the right cheek is on the mat. Nice deep breath, settle in. Enjoy the little neck stretch here. I have a microphone on, so it's a little difficult. All right, settle in. Enjoy the neck stretch. All right, now be very mindful here that we're getting into those shoulders. So let's take that left palm towards the mat
And we're gonna place it just outside of the chest here on the mat. And you're gonna use that hand to push yourself up and over that back straight arm. Sorry, my little microphone got in the way. Hold that thought, moving the mic. Technical difficulties. You think you put it in a safe spot and then you start to move and you find out you didn't. All right, so you're rolling back on that back straight arm. Once you settle in, you can rest the head down. Okay, the legs can stack, knees can stack right here. Use that left hand to push into the mat to deepen that stretch. Or you can release that left hand back behind you, reaching for that other arm, or wrap it around the lower back. Lots of options here. Find where you want that hand the best. Nice deep breaths. And then option to take that top leg back behind you into a bit of a spinal twist, only if you want more. So pay attention to that right shoulder here, that right chest, the shoulder and the chest connective tissue in there. That's what we're trying to open up here. So nice deep breaths. Again, if this is too uncomfortable, you can always come out of it. You can also do a nice chest opener on a wall if you need to. All right, nice deep breath. One more. And then nice and gently untwist. Bring that left arm back to the front if you took it behind you. Unroll, come back to center. Make sure everything's nice and comfortable. Come back into that T position. This time you'll take the left cheek to the mat. Settle in here. Enjoy the little neck stretch. Make sure you're comfortable. All right, so T position, nice and long with those arms. You're gonna bring that right hand to the mat in front of the chest and gently press yourself up and over on top of that back straight arm. So your shoulders are stacked, your hips are stacked, your legs are stacked. Rest the head. Good, you're in control with that right hand pushing into that mat. Option to release it back behind you, reaching for that other arm, or you can wrap it around your lower back. Breathe. Lastly, that top leg can go behind you for a bit of a spinal twist here, only if you want it. Nice deep breaths. You can stay right here if you'd like, wherever it feels best to you. Paying attention to that left shoulder and chest area. Good. One more deep breath. And nice and gently, when you're ready, untwist. Come back to center. Good job. Make sure you're comfy. Adjust what you need to. All right, go ahead and bring those arms in. Frame the chest. Push up, hips up, coming into your tabletop and then into your child's pose. So toes together. Send those hips back and rest the head. Come back to the breath. Come back to your intention. Nice deep breaths. Noticing the shoulders. Good. One more deep breath. And then nice and gently come on up into your tabletop position. Let's do one cow-cat here. Inhale, scoop it up. Exhale, cat back. Beautiful. All right, back into that neutral. So we worked on the front portion of the chest. Now I'm gonna work on the back side into the shoulder blades. So we're gonna thread the needle here. So take your time. Let's start with the left palm underneath the nose. Inhale, right arm lifts. Little counter twist here. And then exhale, you're gonna thread that needle through. You're gonna take that arm underneath. The left hand will walk towards the top of the mat, and you're gonna rest the right side of the face to the mat. Good. Lengthening that left arm. Maybe you start to reach up and over. Find where it feels best for that left hand, wherever that is for you. Paying attention to the right shoulder blade. So as you're pushing into that mat with that left hand, you're opening up that shoulder blade a little bit more. Nice deep breaths. You also have the option to take that left hand back behind you, reaching for that right back pocket. Now, if that deems uncomfortable, you can just come right back down, okay? So find where you want that left hand. Once you're settled, you have the option to take that left leg out, opening up that inner thigh a little bit if you want to. This is just an addition if you want an additional stretch for that inner thigh. Taking that leg out. Nice deep breaths. I know you feel like a pretzel right now, and that's okay. Nice deep breaths, you got it. Notice where you have the tension and breathe into that space. Good. One more deep breath. If you took that left hand back behind you, let's bring it back to the mat nice and safely. Take your time, bring that leg back in if you took it out. Unthread that needle, come back to center. Whew. And let's do one cow-cat. Inhale, scoop it up. Exhale, cat back. Beautiful job. All right, we're going to thread the needle other side. Right palm underneath the nose. Inhale, left arm lifts, little counter twist. And then exhale, you're going to thread that left arm underneath you. Right palm to the top of the mat and rest that left side of the face to the mat. As long as you're on the other side, that's what matters. Okay, settle in, find what feels best to you. Move that right hand around. Maybe you reach over to that top left corner of the mat, deepening that stretch, or release it back behind you, reaching for that left back pocket this time. Good, wherever you have that hand, once you're settled, you have the option to take that right foot out for a little inner thigh stretch. Now, if you did it on the other side and you tried it on the other side, let's try it on this side. Try to keep the body even. But of course, if one side just doesn't feel right, you can always bring it back in, okay? Nice deep breaths. Couple of breaths here. One more deep breath. Nice and gently bring that right hand back to the mat. Nice and easy. On, thread that needle. Come back to tabletop and give me one cow cat. Inhale, scoop it up. And exhale, cat back. Beautiful job. Toes together, child's pose. One more time. Send those hips back. Now you can play around in your child's pose. Maybe you want to try with the knees together. You can absolutely try with the knees together. And then you have the option too to take those arms back behind you, rounding out those shoulders. Try it. See how it feels for you today. Or you can always come back to that wide-legged if that's more comfortable. If you need deeper here, maybe you take the chin towards the chest, or excuse me, the chin towards the mat. Just a couple of different options for you in your child's pose. Wherever you are, one more deep breath. Nice and gently come on up. Whew, come on to that back side, my friends. Nice and gently sit it onto that booty. Feel free to sip your water if you need to, and grab that strap that you have nearby. All right, coming into a seated position, kind of move the booty flesh out of the way if you need to so you feel like you're seated nice and tall. Coming into, in yoga we call it seated tree. Basically it's a single hamstring stretch. So we're gonna bring one leg in and bring that foot to the inner thigh. Let's make sure, if you only make it to the knee, let's make sure we're not putting pressure on that knee, okay? So you can also have it at the calf if needed. We're focusing on the leg that's straight. That's what's most important, okay? Grab that strap, belt, towel, whatever you got. Have it nearby. Option to use it. If you don't have one, that's okay. You can still do the stretch without it. But if you would like to use one, let's place it around the arch of that long foot, that long leg. All right. Inhale, nice and tall. I'm going to hold on to one side of the strap with each hand. Inhale. And then exhale, we're going to hinge the hips. Think about the heart going towards those toes again. So we're not rounding out the shoulders just yet. We're staying nice and long and tall with that spine. The strap helps you to do that. So shoulders down and back, heart space towards the toes. Breathe. Pressing the heel slightly forward and pressing the tailbone back. Good, nice deep breaths. Good. Inhale, let's release. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, hinge forward and hold. Good. Inhale, nice and tall. Last time. Exhale, hinge forward and hold. Continuing to breathe here, lengthening that leg, lengthening the spine. Now, on your next exhale, I want you to go ahead and release that head down, bowing down towards the leg, folding in half over that leg. You can release the strap here and reach those arms as far forward as you can, reaching for that foot, rounding out the shoulders, folding in half over that leg. Now, if you're able to reach the bottom of the foot and you need more length, you can add a block to the bottom of the foot for extra length here. You can continue to use the strap if you need to. Absolutely. Whatever feels best to you. Thinking about that leg lengthening, envision yourself folding in half over that leg. Breathing. Inhales, you gently release just a little bit. And then exhales, you try to go a little bit deeper. One more deep breath. On your exhale, you go to your furthest extension and then gently roll it on up, nice and easy.
Shoulders down and back, head is last to rise. Whew, beautiful job. Nice and gently, switch feet. Take your time, take your time. Coming into seated tree on the other side, or a single hamstring stretch, bringing that leg in, okay? All right, strap around the arch of the foot. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, hinge forward at those hips. So again, spine is nice and long to start. Shoulders down and back, ears are over the shoulders, hinging at the hips only. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, hinge forward. Good. It just changes up the stretch a little bit versus just rolling forward over that leg. Inhale, nice and tall. Exhale, hinge forward. Good. One more time, my friends. Inhale, up. Exhale, hinge forward and hold. Breathe. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and round out those shoulders. Reach those arms as far forward as you can. If you can reach the foot, you can drop that strap. You can add that block to the bottom of the foot if you need extra length. Again, envisioning yourself folding half over that leg. Take your time, breathe. Exhales, trying to go a little bit deeper. Inhales, you gently release just a little bit. One more deep breath. And then nice and gently roll it on up. Nice and easy, head is last to rise. Beautiful job. You can just set that strap down right next to you so it's in arm's reach. All right, my friends, we're gonna lay it on down, coming into some more leg and hip stretches here. So take your time, make sure that strap is somewhat nearby, and maybe those blocks and the pillow nearby too, just in case you wanna grab them when you're laying down, okay? All right. With control, lay it on down. Get those blankies out if you need to. Come on down with control. Let's go ahead and do a nice big good evening stretch. Reaching those toes, lengthening those arms, reaching up and overhead, lengthening, nice big good evening stretch. And then exhale, bring those arms down to your sides, and then bring those feet back to the mat, bending those knees, and grab that strap you have nearby. All right. Placing that strap around the arches of those feet and sending those feet to the sky. All right, so take your time here. We're gonna do some hip openers here, so take your time. All right, so one side of the strap in each hand. Now, we wanna straighten the legs the best we can. So push those heels up, use the strap so that way you can straighten the legs, okay? Now, your legs may not be perfectly straight, and that is okay, all right? We definitely don't, we want them straight, but we don't want them locked either. So don't lock the knees, there should be a slight micro bend. All right, so wherever you are, legs are as straight as you can. Inhale, and then exhale, I want you to start to bring those toes towards the nose. Good, you might not move very far, and that's okay. Just think about the lengthening happening behind those legs. Maybe you feel it in the calves, behind the knees, and into the hamstrings, maybe even into that lower back. So breathe, spine is nice and long. Nice deep breaths. Good, one more deep breath. And then nice and gently, we're gonna release the left foot down to the mat. So left foot down, good, you can keep the knee bent for now. Let's take that strap into that right hand, okay? Now I want you to take that left hand to the hip, okay? I want you to make sure that the hips stay on the ground here. Pressing that right heel towards the ceiling, inhale, and then exhale, we're gonna start to open up that hip out to the right as far as you can comfortably, keeping that hip on the ground. So if you notice, when you go too far over and that right hip, or excuse me, that left hip comes up off the ground, you've gone too far. So come back, keep those hips grounded, and open that leg as far as you can comfortably, okay? I'm gonna scoot over just a hair. Kind of have a wall in my way. All right. So open up, breathe. Now you're gently pulling upward on the strap, pulling those toes up towards the crown of the head, okay? Now this other leg, the left leg that's bent, we can actually take that leg out nice and long along the mat if you'd like. See how that feels. If it's too much, you can always bend the knee again. Now I want you to think about lengthening that leg, pointing the toe, and then maybe flexing the foot. Push the heel forward. Point the toe, see what feels best. See if it changes anything for you with the hips. If not, again, if it's too much, you can always bring that foot back, okay? Nice deep breaths. One more deep breath. And then gently bring that leg back up to center. Take your time. Switching the straps to the left hand. Same leg. All right, now from here, we're going to inhale. And then exhale, we're going to take that leg just across the center line of the body. So you only go across maybe 6 to 12 inches. Keeping that right hip, both hips are grounded. Both hips are on the ground. So if you take that leg all the way over, that right glute and that right hip comes up. We want to keep that on the ground. Gently just come across that center line of the body. Still pulling upward on that strap. Toes towards the crown of the head. Breathe. You should feel this all down the outside of that leg, into that glute, maybe even into that lower back. Nice deep breaths. Now, my friends, let's release that right hip up off the ground, taking that leg all the way across the body, coming into a straight-legged spinal twist. So take your time. But now, we want to make sure that the shoulders stay grounded. Okay, so the shoulders, so if that right shoulder comes up off the ground, you've gone too far. So come back, shoulders grounded. You can take that right arm out into a T position. You can even take the eye gaze to the right. Still gently pulling upward on that strap. Ooh, nice deep breaths. Breathe. Try to relax the glutes and relax the lower back. Breathe into that space. One more deep breath. And then nice and safely to release, you're going to start to release that strap, bending that top leg, bring it back to center. Take your time, and then bring that leg up with the strap, and then we'll bring both feet into that strap once again, nice and long and tall, and then you're going to bring those toes towards the nose. Good, noticing the difference in those legs. And then we're gonna do the other side, my friends. So when you're ready, release that right foot down. Take your time. All right, so we have the strap in the left hand. Strap is around that left foot. Right hand on top of that right hip, so the hips stay grounded, okay? So as soon as that hip starts to move up, you come back, okay? All right, so gently pulling upward on that strap, toes towards the crown of the head. Inhale, and then exhale, you're gonna open up that hip and leg out to the left. Take your time, keeping those hips grounded. Find where you feel it the best, gently pulling upward on that strap. And then once you're settled, you can take that right leg out nice and long along the mat. Point the toe, flex the foot, push the heel forward, see if it changes anything up for you. If you deem it too much, just bring that foot right back to the mat, keep it bent. Nice deep breaths. Still gently pulling upward on that strap. Whew, breathe. Good, one more deep breath. And nice and gently bring it back to center, switching that strap to the right hand. Left hand can go on top of the left hip here, so we can make sure those hips stay on the ground. Inhale, and then exhale that leg just across the center line of the body. Pulling upward, toes towards the crown. Keeping those hips grounded, shoulders grounded. Breathe. Each exhale, you might be able to get a little bit farther. One more deep breath. On your exhale, allow that left hip to come up off the ground, coming into that straight-legged spinal twist on this side. Shoulders stay on the ground. Left arm can go out, T position. Eye gaze can go to the left. Good job. Breathe. Still gently pulling upward on that strap. Good. Nice deep breaths. Try to relax that lower back. Relax the glutes. Good. One more deep breath. To release, nice and safely start to relax the strap, bending that top leg. Nice and safely come back to center, releasing that strap. Beautiful job. Coming back to center. And then bring those knees into that chest. Hug it out. Woo. Maybe you rock side to side, nice and easy. Good. Let's bring that forehead, option to bring that forehead up towards the knees like you did earlier. Noticing if you're a little bit closer maybe. And then gently lower that head back down, nice and long spine. Good, rock side to side. All right. Coming into our happy baby, taking those knees out towards the outer edges of the shoulders. Flexed feet towards the sky, pushing those heels up to the ceiling. And then you're gonna pull down on those thighs, ankles, or the feet. Now, if you reach for the feet, but you notice that the neck and the shoulders get really tight and kind of crunch up off the ground, then maybe we come down to the ankles or the shin area or even to those thighs. As long as you're pulling downward, feeling that pinching sensation in the hips, that's what we're going for here. You can gently rock side to side if that feels good. Breathe. There's an option here to go into a straight-legged stretch. You can take those peace fingers around the big toes and send the legs up. You can also open and rock here as well. Now, if the big toes or the feet aren't in grip distance, you can hold on to the legs if you want to try. And you can open and rock here too. Now, again, if that's not for you, this was just an option. You can always stay in happy baby. And just stay right here. We got a couple more breaths, nice deep breaths, feeling that pinching sensation in the hips. Breathe. If you went into that straight-legged stretch, gently come back into your happy baby. One more deep breath here. And then nice and gently release those feet down to the mat, feet and knees together, and then allow those knees to fall open. So the bottoms of the feet come together. Allow them to open naturally. Now, if you need a little deeper hip opener here, you can use a block, a pillow, or whatnot, and place it right where those feet meet for a little elevation. That's an option. All right, we're gonna be here for a little bit, so get comfortable, get those blankies out and those pillows. Once the bottom half settles, we can inhale, take those arms up overhead, and then exhale, bring them into field goal arms. So you kind of bend at the elbows, scarecrow arms, if you will. Bend at the elbows 90 degrees and allow that heart space to open. Allowing that chest to open, the shoulders to relax. Now, if you're not quite feeling anything here, we can also add a block or a pillow underneath the shoulder blades. Now, if you have a larger pillow, you can here hang out and allow that chest to open. You can also use a smaller pillow or a block. I'm just going to use what you have, right? Use what you have. All right, so take your time, get comfortable here. Nice deep breaths. You can even use rolled up towels or blankets or whatnot, and then just allow that chest space to open. Nice deep breaths. Settle in, come back to that breath, and come back to that initial intention or that initial prayer that you said at the beginning of class. And just take a moment here to open yourself up, to listen, opening up your heart, letting go of anything that's not serving you, any negativity that you're holding on to, any unnecessary tension. Let it go. Nice deep breaths. Make sure you're comfortable here for a few more breaths. Maybe it feels good to sigh out the mouth. Making noise with the breath. Couple more breaths here. Noticing any unnecessary tension. Breathing into that space. Slowing down the breath. Starting to allow that exhale to meet the length of the inhale, just like we did in the beginning. Maybe you start to exhale out the nose again. You can start to restrict the exhale as you exhale out the nose as well, starting to massage that throat and thyroid, so you kind of create like an ocean sound with your breath. Like you're trying to fog up a window. Nice deep breaths, relax. Now you can stay here as long as you'd like, of course. But if you're ready, and when you're ready to come out, nice and gently, we'll start to take those arms down beside us, maybe to help those knees back up together. Take your time, removing any pillows or blocks out of your way. Please take your time here. Gradually making our way into our final resting pose, and whatever that looks like for you. So if it is that initial laying long with the legs out long, that's fine. Remember, if you have lower back issues, we can keep those legs bent and use those pillows. Maybe we have the pillows underneath the knees here. Maybe you have a blankie. Is it a little chilly in your house? Maybe you have a blanket. Get a little bit comfortable here. We're going to practice stillness for these last few minutes of class, okay? All right, so get comfortable. Nice and easy, lay it down. The legs out long, wherever they feel best. And settle in. Whew. Wiggle those legs side to side. Let those feet fall out naturally. Shift those hips a little bit, side to side, left and right. Maybe tuck the tailbone and release. Just finding that center for that pelvic bowl. Shoulders down and back. Neck is nice and long. Find that crevice in the base of the skull. So just rock that head a little bit side to side. So that chin should be slightly tucked. And then arms down at your sides, wherever they feel best to you. Relax. Get all those wiggles out. We're going to practice stillness for a few moments. So often in life, we are very on the go, right? We are always go, 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 go. And it's nice and it's good to take time for yourself to actually be still. So you're coming into a state of relaxation, focusing on your breath and your breath alone, allowing the outside world to disappear for just a few moments, keeping all your to-do lists at the door, and allowing yourself a couple of moments here to just be you. Breathing in and out the nose, checking in with the physical body, noticing if there's any leftover tension here that we're holding on to. Breathe into that space. Let it go. What are you holding on to? What weight is on your shoulders that is not meant for you to carry? Maybe it's not meant for you to carry alone. Let it go. Continuing with the breath. In and out the nose. Sinking into that mat. Each exhale a little bit deeper, each breath. In this state of relaxation, you are fully relaxed. Not so relaxed that you would fall asleep, but right up to that cliff. Relax that tongue off the roof of the mouth. Relax the eyes behind the eyelids. Stillness in the body and the mind. So as soon as you notice a thought come in, you let it go. Just a few more moments here. Gently bring your mind back to this space and starting to wiggle those toes. One at a time, spreading out those toes, taking up space with those toes. Squeeze those toes and release, squeeze and release, spread them out. Rotating those ankles, pointing and flexing those feet. Good. Eventually bringing those feet to the mat. If you have a pillow, you can release the pillow to the side. Maybe a couple of nice hammock sways side to side feels good. Take those feet wide. Good. Starting to wiggle those fingers. Squeeze those fists and release. Squeeze and release. Rotating those wrists. Gradually taking those arms up overhead. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, eventually making your way into a fetal position on your favorite side. You can rest the head on the arm underneath you and hug those knees into that chest. Good. Eyes are closed if you can. Bring a smile to that face, feeling grateful and thankful. Hopefully lighter, having let go of anything you're holding on to today that's not meant for you to hold on to. One more deep breath. When you're ready, absolutely no rush, gently press yourself up into a simple seated position. Nice and tall, eyes are still closed here if you can. Settle in, keeping that smile on your face. When you're ready, inhale, float those arms up overhead, eye gaze up, slowly opening up the eyes, allowing light in, allowing love in, bringing those hands together and down through to heart space, feeling all the love today, my friends. It has been an honor to share this space, this time, this virtual space with you today. Namaste. And thank you for being here. I hope you feel fabulous. I hope you feel wonderful. I hope you feel weightless. I hope you feel stretched out. Thank you guys for joining.